Welcome to the Untold Civil War, and today we have another episode of Untold Civil War Curiosities, where we get the chance to handle and examine real artifacts from the Civil War. Now, before we get started, one thing I wanted to talk about was the rise of AI within the community. Many have been concerned about AI in the community and AI-generated Civil War portrait photography. Now, I wanted to find out more, so I went online, I downloaded one of these AI apps, and I asked it to generate some Civil War portrait photography, and I'm going to show you here some of the images that were produced. As you can see, for the novice, they look pretty good. However, how do you arm yourself against these fake AI-generated images? So you have to arm yourself with the knowledge of Civil War uniforms. And how do you do that? You go back to the books. So with me right here, I have some examples of books that I've used throughout the years to study. And as you can see, this is from Osprey, very popular publishing company that has several books on Civil War uniforms. When you study these uniforms, you get a better idea of what they were like and what the soldiers wore, and that'll arm you with the knowledge going into this field, this minefield of artificial intelligence, and you'll be able to identify what's real and what's not. Another great example to look at, of course, is Don Traiani's work. His Civil War on canvas is absolutely stunning, and of course he's done amazing amount of research looking at original uniforms, looking at original Civil War receipts for uniforms, looking at newspaper and letter descriptions of uniforms, just to make sure that when he puts his work on canvas, that these images, his paintings, are extremely accurate. And so when you arm yourself with the knowledge of what's legit by looking at those primary sources, letters, newspaper articles, you're going to know what's legit and what's designed by artificial intelligence, which is garbage. So today I wanted to talk about a nice collection of Civil War images that we have here. The first grouping I want to look at are some of the images that just came into the shop, and they really show the personal touch of Civil War soldiers. Just like people today, when you're taking your own portrait, you want to add some of your own flair to the image. And so, as you can see in this carte de visite, this soldier, he has a very interesting kepi or forage cap next to him with a rain cover, which is really unique. You don't usually see that in some of these images. But what you can also see is he's smoking a cigar. I'm sure his mother was not happy when she received this image in the mail, but as you can see, he's giving a hurrah to his cigar love. And of course, you also have this post-war image of a Civil War veteran wearing his Grand Army of the Republic medal, and he is also smoking a pipe. Tobacco was a very, very popular pastime, and so sometimes you will see images of soldiers smoking pipes or smoking cigars. I don't believe cigarettes were a thing back then, but definitely you would have seen pipes and cigars. Another really cool image is this one of my favorites. Now, when you look at Civil War soldiers, oftentimes they will pose with a sword. Maybe they pose with a revolver. They do this because they want to show off that martial flair. You know, you look at these Confederate images of Confederate soldiers with giant Bowie knives, right? This image is of a Civil War soldier carrying a bunch of paperwork. So I imagine he must have been the clerk on his regiment's staff, which was a very important job. Paperwork keeps the army going, okay? And to hold this job, you had to be literate. So to have this position was definitely a position of honor, and he was very proud of it. You know, he's not carrying any weapons, but he is showing off all the paperwork stuffed in his pockets. And it goes to show you that the Army, just like any large bureaucratic government organization, fueled by paperwork. And it reminds me of the story of red tape, where during the Civil War, all this paperwork would have been bound by red tape. And today, we use that term when we describe all the bureaucratic crap, stuff, nonsense that we have to go through. You know, you have to go through the red tape. And that comes from the Civil War. So here you have a red tape image, which is absolutely fantastic. This last image that I want to share about that personal touch is an image that, or type of image that I believe Doug York coined, a PIP, a picture in a picture. So what do we mean by that? Here we have a Civil War soldier who, as many did, probably carried a picture of his loved one on his person when he went on campaign. And of course, he wanted to send a picture home to show his loved one that he was always carrying their likeness on his person. And here you have him posing next to that image resting on the table there. That is a really awesome personal touch that you don't really see in a lot of Civil War photography, but they're out there. And even though the condition of this image isn't the greatest, again, remember, this is over 100 years old, so if I looked like this over 100 years old, I'd feel very good about myself, okay? So let's not talk too bad about the condition of this image. Look at the content. This is something that this soldier really wanted to show his loved one at home. You're always on my mind, you're always there. So that's what I think about when I see images like this. Here we are drinking out of my favorite Civil War mug. Civil War beards, the Civil War, famous beards. If you can identify some of the beards on the mug, you can definitely comment down below. I got this at the American Civil War Museum down in Richmond. So finally, thank you for tuning in to the Untold Civil War and checking out these Untold Civil War Curiosities with me. If you want more, you can't get enough, don't forget to check out the website. On the website, a lot of these images are going to be for sale. You can also reach out on Instagram or Facebook. On there, you know, contact me if you're interested in these images. We can probably work out a deal. This is a chance to own history. This is a chance to become a caretaker of history, a steward of history, as we call on the show. So don't miss out. These are the best birthday, Christmas, holiday gift for that Civil War buff in your family. I also want to thank all my patrons on Patreon and all my sponsors who help keep the lights on, so to speak, of the podcast and help us to produce more content for my loyal followers. Thank you.
Charge!
Onwards to Untold Civil War.